Man, let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back. I have the pleasure of having with me a very good friend. But first of all, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the after show. Welcome back to the late show. Welcome back to the show. And we are here with some great community engaging, community involved concept here with you. I'm your host, Lord Hellespont V, and I'm here with Watch Nicholas. How are you doing,
Hey,
Nick?
Lord, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you as always. Good to see all the punters too. Always.
Yeah, all the wonderful people are in the chat. Our links for contributions are in the chat as well, just to put it out there. But today we're going to do something very specific. This is a concept that Watch Addict and Watch Nicholas came up with together. And the idea is basically to choose a specific kind of watch within the constraints of a certain budget. So, Watch Addict basically wants to acquire a chronograph, and we want to help him out.
Yup.
And the community will be involved with
Yup.
it through polls. So, I will introduce the format, and then Watch Nicholas will go first, and I'm going to follow up. And it is always a tough act to follow, of course, but by all means, I'm up
Oh
for the
no,
challenge.
that's no big deal.
So
Yeah,
we will each,
Starlight's on the fritz a little bit, boys.
yeah, we will. So we will introduce our four choices each in the form of a poll. I will post the poll midway around Watch Nicholas's presentation, so it's actually affected and shaped by his presentation, by his introduction of those four chronographs. In addition to those four choices, which will be voted by you, we will also have two wildcards, one each, that will by go by this round and will play against two of your choices, one out of four from each of us for the final. But in this show, we will be voting basically on four of Nick's choices, four of my choices. Nick's choices are basically inflected by his modernist appeal. Mine are inflected by my vintage charm. And I will present four neo vintage or vintage inspired chronographs, and Nick is going to present four modern chronographs. So I will, without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to my friend Nick, who will start to talk about his choices. All right, great timing. I'm sure he's coming back. Guys, in the meantime, I will have the pleasure to welcome you in the chat. Mookie is here, GRH Bon. Of course, Watch Nicholas was with us just a minute ago. Lindell Music, Boston Collector. Watch Nicholas? Hello, Nick. Are you still there? He's going to be with us. No worries there. So Antonio Stark, welcome back. Pyroclaim, the Lord himself. Well, he's upstairs. I'm just a placeholder. The trolls, of course, are always here with us. NATO, Dirk Diggler, all the wonderful people. Nick, are you back? No? Yes? All right. He'll be back. No worries. By the way, guys, don't. Yeah, it's no surprise. We're friends. We are indeed friends. We look out for each other. We look out for our people. We look out for our punters. It is the name of the game. We love you all. I cannot hear you, Nick, at all, actually. Worst case scenario is I can start if we can't get across this hurdle in the next 10 minutes or so. And we'll be right back with Nick's choices in the second hour. But in the meantime, guys, all right, Nick, are you there?
Sorry.
All right.
I hope so. I'm so sorry, boys. So sorry. Oh my God. Yeah. All right, we're back. Let's crack this baby out, right? Maybe, possibly.
Baruch Hashem.
Crack
Let's
this
go.
egg. All right. So let's see. The first thing, I want to say hi to all the punters, to Dirk, GR, Boston, NATO, everybody like that. Let me see. The first thing I got on this list. Yeah, we can't use sign language, NATO. I wish we could on this one. That would be pretty great, right? I got this. Let's see. We got a Zenith. We got a Zenith. I'm going to pop it right here. And then I guess we got the reference number in there, and we can look at some stuff on that, like if we pull it up. So
Yes.
I think everybody likes Zenith, right? That's how I feel. I think it's kind of a traditional looking watch. And this is, well, it's a traditional like El Primero, and you got the 36,000 VPH. What's up, Johnny? How you doing, Johnny? What's up, Messaging Matters? What's up? Well, I already said hi to NATO. I'm not going to say hi to NATO again, but I guess I just did. And Jake, what's up, Jake? How you doing, Jake? Hope you're enjoying the... I don't know what your newest watch was, Jake. I think it was that Aquaterra. Hopefully there was something since the Aquaterra. I hope there was something since the Aquaterra. But yeah, there we go. That's the one, Lord. Thank you. I appreciate you pulling that up, man. Yeah, so this is the one. I like this guy, okay? So, and the reason why I like this is, to me, this is a mix of traditional, while it's also like kind of dressy, right? It's not dressy. No one's going to say it's dressy. I guess I just did. So like, don't quote me on that, but like, it's kind of dressy-ish, you know, like you can kind of like, I don't know, you can, it's large, it wears large. It's not, I mean, you can slide it under a cuff, I guess, like you can slide it under that, but it's, there's something about it. It's just a timeless looking piece. You can dress it up, dress it down. You know, it's a little thick, you know, it's a little big, but it's not too big. It's 13.2 mm thick, so that's still in that like range. Hey, what's up, Dis? I saw Dis in there. I love Dis. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Dis. I love you, Dis. So yeah, I mean, this is stainless. If you like stainless, 13.2 mm. It's not too thick, you know. It's big. This is gonna wear big, wear large, but you can still slide it under that stuff. I think that you know, this looks good on a strap, leather, obviously, but you know, I think that there's also a bracelet that I think looks pretty good on this, honestly. Hello, OC. How are you, OC? Bezel, hi Bezel. Hi Pat. Yeah, so I mean, you don't have to get the bracelet. You know, you get it on the strap. I do think that the bracelet, they have a pretty nice bracelet on this where the links are kind of like polished center or whatever, you know, and you got this, I don't know, the clasp is pretty nice too. But at the end of the day, you know, we're looking, it's a 42 mm case, got the stainless steel case, kind of that. I don't know what you call this, if it's just, I don't know what, like silvery dial, you know, and then that like tricolor looking thing, tricolor subdial, you know, minute, hour, small second, date, chronograph, just kind of basic, you know, basic but timeless. I'm just kind of rambling, you know, punters. Like, I don't really know, you know. I like the pushers on this. Oh, thank you, Lord, for pulling that up too. Like, I think the bracelet on this looks so good. That's the thing. Like, you know, this kind of integrated bracelet, whatever, like the links. Apologize for the noise, boys. I probably shouldn't have broadcast from Panera Bread, but sometimes that happens. So yeah, I mean, it's the bracelet on here is nice, you know, integrated, whatever, polished center links, all that. I don't know. I think each link is countersunk, all that. Polished center links. Yeah, Boston, that's what's up. Mookie says it too. Heavy discount. Yeah, you can get a discount on these bastards for sure. You can get a major discount. And those pushers are extra crispy. Like you see them, you want to push them down, you can get the price down. This is a couple years old. You know, silver dial, stainless steel. I don't know. What else can I say here? I'm just trying to ramble, basically. Oh, we got the tachymeter. We got the tachymeter. You can ramble about that, I guess. You know, I mean, I'm not the biggest like tachymeter guy, but you know, you got to have it. You got to have it, right?
What does it? What does the tachymeter strike when Travis passes by? How tacky does he register on this meter?
Pretty high, pretty high. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty good, man. With a 41% discount. I mean, that's what you want to I mean, that's what you want to be looking at. I mean, I wouldn't I don't know what the numbers you're targeting right off the rip are, but it's definitely not market, you know. You're definitely looking for some sort of discount on this, but it's still a high quality watch. I mean, if it's good enough for Rolex, I think it's good enough for a lot of people. Yeah, pass out, Dis. Go to sleep, buddy. We'll talk tomorrow. Yeah, keep it running. It's always good to see you. I love you, Dis. Love you, buddy. I mean, so let's see, what do I have written down on this? We got 50-hour power reserve. So 50-hour power reserve. Um, I get like it's not like something to write home about, but I think with all that you have going on this watch, it's sufficient. It's fine. It's more than enough. And you know, if you have 2 days plus, that's fine. You know, like that's totally fine. And yeah, I mean, what else can I really say here? You got the 12-hour, you got the 30-minute, you got the 60-second. Um, what is in here movement wise? We got 400B, El Primero 400B automatic movement, 50-hour power reserve, scratch resistant sapphire, and 100-meter power or 100-meter water resistant. So yeah, I mean, kind of large, but I think it's a beautiful watch. Do you have any thoughts on it? I can ramble some more, Lord, for
No, I
sure, but
mean, look, there's I think most people know this, but let me throw it out there. When Zenit came out with one of the first integrated automatic chronograph calibers, they aptly named it El Primero, since they claim to be the first. And it is one of the first automatic movements. Like Nick said, this was the base that powered the Rolex Daytona from 1988 to 2000. Um, so if it was good enough for Rolex, it's good enough for you, as Nick put it.
yeah,
And that was
definitely.
the first generation of automatic Daytonas that today are uh, actually a very decent value in terms of collectability. Also, I think very beautiful and valuable watches. But since Nick's proclivities are more towards the modern, and we had to stay within a certain budget, which is roughly around or under, sometimes well under 10K.
Parameters, yeah, there's parameters. You're
So
gonna
this is
probably
a
have to
great
block
choice.
this guy. How do we block this guy? Sorry. One sec.
42
One sec.
millimeters, high beat caliber, of course, beating at 5 hertz, 36,000 semi oscillations per hour. Beautiful watch, a classic.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I think it's traditional, even though it's you know it's bigger, you know, at 42. Well, I got some measurements written down, 13.2 mm thick, 50.8 mm lug to lug. So, you know, this has a big carbon footprint, so to speak, as Greta would say, I guess. But I mean, it's a beautiful watch. It's a beautiful watch, and I think at the end of the day, I am like I'm a cheap person. I'm all about value, and I think if you just, you know, I don't like Rolex, so I'm like, you know, I'm never gonna really look at that. But I think there's a lot of value here, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff here. Yeah, Dirk has it down. Dirk knows what's up. You got to upvote it. Um, yeah, I mean, so it's a beautiful watch. The bracelet's beautiful. There's a lot of value here. You know, you got this integrated, like, you know, integrated bracelet. The links are countersunk, so it's just kind of seamless, a seamless aesthetic. You know, the polished center links. I see that every link is also removable, so you can get the perfect sizing on this
Mhm.
watch. Um, you know, that's important. You know, it's like these little things. You know, like the double folding clasp, the twin trigger release, that types thing. You know, so it's you want to have that solid protection, I guess, stability, um, all that. I also like the shape of this watch. I think that's something. You know, it's like I, you know, like we have parameters on this, so it's like, you know, we're kind of picking for somebody else, you know, not exactly, you know, there's some things you have to take into account, you know, so it's like with my preference, like I'd be looking at like some of the revivals, like the 38 mm
Mhm.
Zenith, but like with these parameters, I think that this totally works, and I think it still hits a lot of the stuff because, you know, like the pushers, you know, those pump style, like it's just a really sexy watch. It really is with that vintage feel. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't know
Absolutely.
what you would call it, but yeah, just good looking watch.
Like a lot of heritage in this watch, a
Yeah,
lot of history, but a lot of modernity as well, because this is a high beat caliber. It comes with lots of options and varieties that you don't really have with Rolex in stainless steel. You know, you can get it on a leather strap with a deployant buckle. You they have different case shapes, different iterations of the movement. They have one with the ceramic tachymeter bezel, if that's your thing. So Zenit offers a lot within that particular range, you know. And if you go to the secondary market, uh, of course you can get great deals on this kind of watch.
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I agree with all of that. I totally agree with all of that, and I think, yeah, agree with all that, man. Totally, definitely.
So this is our first option from Watch Nicholas. I will start running the poll right after you finish with the second one. So let's bring up the second choice from Nick. What do you say?
Let's see. What do I have on this list? What do I got? What do I got? I got. All right, let me put this in the chat. Let me put it in the chat. I got a glass hooter. Hey, what's up, Curly Q? How you doing, Curly Q? Glass hooter, Senator, chronograph, panorama date. I like to call it panorama datum, but I don't think you really call it that. I think it's just panorama date. But it's a good watch. It's kind of thick, kind of a thick looking watch. But yeah, no IWC chronos on this list, Lindell, but there is something that's really similar. I'll tell you that, Lindell. There's not an IWC chrono, but there's something that's, I would say it's, you could say it's in, well, you couldn't say it definitely is. It's inspired IWC chronos, you know, and there's history in that. Lord will probably know more on that. He'll give you
Hmm.
more info on that later. But we got some good stuff on this with the senator thing. Yeah, no more Portuguesers. I'm not really a big Portugueser guy, to be quite honest. I'm not the biggest. I like IWC. I really like IWC, but I like the basic. Like I like the pilots. You know, that's really, you know, I'm about the pilots on that. But so okay, this glass hooter, senator chronograph, this is really cool to me for a lot of reasons. Okay, originally this was a precious metal only watch, and this came out in like IWC or go home. IWC was one of the first watches that I really liked as like a really sexy whatever. I would say Mariner or go home. I will go home for the Mariner any day. Pack it up any day of the week for the Mariner. But yeah, so this came in. This originally was a precious metal release in 2014, and obviously that's great as a precious metal whatever, and they expanded that by making it stainless steel, so having the stainless steel is more accessible, I guess you could say. Hey, Bowser's my favorite infiltrator. I love him even though he's an infiltrator. He's the best. Yeah, that's what's up, Bowser. Yeah, so 2000, so in 2017 they released, I believe 2016, 17, around then they got this stainless steel version of this. All right, and Obviously, there's something nice about a white gold or whatever, but stainless steel a little more accessible for us punters, for all that. So, this is a pretty good price for what you're looking at. Um, it is. I mean, at least to me, right? Like, I think it looks good. It's a little thick. Yeah, they're all under 10. They're all under 10. Just don't include tax, Boston. Don't include tax. Don't count too
It's the
closely, but
TPG.
they're
It's the TPG way. Don't no tax.
yeah, yeah, no no tax. Like, just like let us handle the math, Boston, all right? Don't worry about it. Yeah, they're in that, some of them might be like, 10,500. They're all in that like range, you know what I mean? They're give or take, they're basically in there, we're gonna say. But so this is a little thicker, like if like Lindell or some of the punters that like those IWCs, those thick, it is kind of thick because this is like 15. This is 15 thick, but you're getting like a lot in there, so this is kind of it's like dressy, but it's also like a full size sports uh, complication. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Bowser's double triple. He's legit. We love Bowser. I'm just cracking his balls, busting on his head. But yeah, so I mean, full size sports complication. I mean, it looks kind of like it's a dress watch look, almost 15.
Mhm.
Okay, I was wrong. Not 15, almost 15. So just under that. That's kind of an important distinction. In my notes, I have 15 thick, so like 14.6. That's a big difference. Like that half a millimeter, that's significant. So that's important
I
to
mean,
get that down as
it's
14.6.
actually
But
some people care more about this. Some people are really about proportion. But for a 42 millimeter watch, I think hitting under 15 with all these complications, uh, it's
it's
quite good.
impressive. Yeah,
Actually, it's quite
yeah,
good.
I think so too. hmm That's how I feel, I mean, because you're getting a lot. I mean, so it's like it's hard to say that this is a dress because it's not. It's definitely like a full size, like very beefy, full size sports complication. But you got a semi dress watch aesthetic going down here. It's 42 thick, or sorry, 42 is the case size, 15 or 14.6. Lord just pointed out thick, 21 lug to lug, or sorry, lug width. I apologize. 21 lug width. That's so broad, large. I guess it's gonna wear a little larger.
Hmm.
And let's see, what do we have? The notes I have on here. You got 100 meters of water resistance, which that's pretty impressive for all this. I think that's pretty good. You got these polished pushers. The flyback, so you got the stop seconds without having to stop. And what I really like about Glass Hooter, again, like I'm cheap, so I like the value stuff. In here, what I see is, I see in-house dials, I see all that type stuff. And so I don't know, I'm drawn to that. I like that. I really do. Maybe that's why I like Nomos or Glass Hooter. I like that. I like the in-house dial. I like these sunken registers on these complications. The fact that they're kind of sunken down. It's I don't know. It just looks good to me. And then in I think it's in the seconds register. My eyes are so very bad, but I think it's in there that you actually have the power reserve as well. And you can see that within the seconds, there's like that power reserve, and it changes, from white to black. I think it's black when it's fully wound.
Hmm.
But the date. What I really like about this, what I like about the glass hooter, I guess, is I guess I find something and I fixate on it maybe a little bit. That might be something I'm guilty of. And with these dates on glass hooter, I think they really execute them really well. And it's not. I mean, it's not Dresden Opera House, but it's executed very well. I think it looks very good, and it's not a long Zuna, but I think it's a selling point on these watches. I really do, and it was a selling point for me on my annual edition or whatever they call it
Hmm.
for the for my, like, it's more like an entry level non chronograph watch, just a date. watch. But I mean, that's what I really like. You know, it's that date really kind of sells it, I think. So, and then I guess when you flip this bad boy over, that's where it gets really kind of, you know, where the fun kind of really begins. Hey, Bub, Dirk, yeah, Bubbers, yeah, I miss you too, Dirk. It sucks, buddy. It sucks for sure. It's hard, Dirk. It's really hard. Um, yeah, you flip this bad boy over, and I think the movement is what really kind of sells it too, because GO is, I mean, these are just really nice watches. And so in this, you have, they call it the 37-01. And this is hand, sorry for the noise, that's hand finished. And so it's a mechanical 70-hour power reserve. You got stop seconds. Um, let's see, we got stop seconds, double digit date adjustment, flyback capable. We got column wheel. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, I guess the main stuff here is that you're going to have full time. You're not going to have wear and tear on the movement with the column wheel. So that's kind of important, whether it's engaged or disengaged. And also on the back, there's this thing which is kind of, it's interesting. You have an indication of function, whether the chronograph is on or off. And so, like, you don't see this on a lot of movements. Like, you actually, like, on the back of this movement, it actually has an on off for the chronograph. And you actually see it on there, and it goes from on or off. And, like, you see the little, I don't know, I guess the button, not button, that's the wrong word. Hi, MCM. It's good to see you, MCM. Yeah, so I think it's just these silly little things, you know, like that, the little on off. I mean, I think there's some other watches, you know, like I know there's like a JLC that has that little chronograph on off thing. Like I've seen that, um, but it's just cool, you know. And then we got what else do we have written down here? Column wheel is black polished. I don't really know what that means, but notes we have, I mean, yeah, I mean, okay, that's cool, I guess, but 58,000, or sorry, 28,800 VPH, 65 joules, heat
Uh,
blue screwed, 100 meter
can I
water
can I say one thing
resistance. Yeah, I mean,
about
that's
black
main stuff.
polishing? Black polishing is impressive because to achieve that pitch black surface, you have to be completely perfect. If there is anything on the surface of that object that you're polishing that is imperfect, that reflects the light in any way, it's not going to be black. So that's the magic of black polishing. That's why it's impressive.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a good looking watch. I mean, it's a really, I would say it's a good looking watch. You got I mean, I don't want to talk about the strap. You know, who cares about the strap, honestly? Like that's not really important. I think we've kind of gone over the main stuff on the movement. I guess, you know, just to kind of go over that really quick again, we got central stop seconds, 30-minute, 12-hour. We got the flyback, small
Mhm.
seconds, power reserve indicator, and we have a 70-hour power reserve, and then we got that panorama date as well. And then on top of that, let's see, we have. Well, I guess that's it actually. That's basically it summed up. But in there, it's workhorse movement in terms of stability, and so it's not going to be susceptible to a lot of problems. So it's going to have pretty good performance. Um, yeah, I guess that's how I would sum it up. That is how I would sum
Okay.
it up.
So now we have two of Nick's choices for the chronograph that we are helping Watch Addict choose. We're helping also in the process uh, the community to have a better idea about what options we have right at under or around $10,000. So first he presented Zenit El Primero 42 millimeter with that date at 6 o'clock. High beat chronograph, very modern with lots of stories to tell with all the heritage that you need, with all the variety of options you have with Zenit. We have the Glashütte Original Senator Chronograph Datum or date, which is one of the really top of the line watches, as Nick said, that Glashütte Original used to offer only in precious metal. Now it's available in stainless steel. And I think it's a very classy watch that, again, you can wear in any number of ways. It does come on a bracelet too, if that's what you choose. But again, they offer it on a rubber strap. They offer it on an old school vintage looking leather strap, a canvas strap. So it's actually a very versatile watch, and it has the black and white dial color option as well. So let's go to the third choice that Watch Nicholas made.
Okay, let me figure out what this is, boys. Give me one sec. We got. Uh-oh, that's not it. It's it's that flyback bathyscaphe lord.
Okay.
Let me get you the model number though for the punters, but I'm pretty sure you know which one it is. Just give me one second. Yeah, I don't think the date has loom, Jake. It on that Geo. There's no loom on that guy, but the rest of it's loomed. You know, the hands and stuff. So all that. Oh, somebody has a Geo panel reserve. I think those are big. Those are big winners. Flyback, brokeback, bareback movement. I mean, it's pretty bare bones. Bare bones. Yeah, no, not really bare bones. It's actually pretty well finished. Yeah. So we got this blonde pawn. This is the blonde pawn bathyscaphe flyback chronograph. So yeah, flyback chronograph. So Watch Addict is kind of a flyback fan. I think we're kind of seeing that. We're kind of seeing a little bit of flyback fandom coming in here.
Hmm.
But this is a good looking watch. I think this is a really, really, really good looking watch. Obviously, I'm biased because I mean I've put my money in, you know, in this brand. I guess you could say, you know, with a similar watch without the chronograph. So I mean, obviously, like I like it. But this was a release in 2014 at Basel. And I think the other big release at Basel that year was the 5960 Paddock. So that's like a big steel release that year. But this was another big, you know, it's you know it's not Paddock, but it's a pretty good stainless steel release, especially the last like 10 years. So this is slimmer than a 50 fathoms. Obviously, it's the bathyscaphe, but it's more accessibly sized, you know, it's hard to say that 43 mm is accessibly sized, but you really can wear it on a smaller wrist because I have a feminine wrist and I can wear it, and can wear it pretty easily. It has a kind of weird lug sizing at 23 mm, like for real. I don't know why they do that. That makes no sense. Like 23 mm is a real pain, but you know it's nice and slim. I like the look on this. I think that because it's slimmer than a 50 fathoms, you know, you can get it under the cuff. You got these strong looking case lines, modern, you know, the modern kind of modern look, but it's also like a vintage look. I don't want to talk too much about the strap because, you know, a strap doesn't matter whether it's a NATO or a sailcloth or whatever. But I really, really, really like the straps on these. I really like the sailcloth a lot. I think they're really underrated. Um, they're really hard to describe, but you know they have this like rubberized. They're like rubber. Here I have mine on right now. Let me try to describe it. Like just kind of like wearing it. You know, it's like so. It's like it's got this like rubber underneath, but it like it doesn't. So I don't know. Like so, it's hot as heck in California right now, um, and it's like 100 degrees, whatever it is, and it does a good job with the heat, with the sweat, with the whatever, you know. I don't really swim in mine, honestly, but I know that I would have no problem swimming with this. I would have no problem, like, I know that some people say this is crazy. I would have no problem using the chronograph. I would have no problem using the bathyscaphe chronograph underwater. I would have no problem with that. I would be doing that. If I would be doing that, no problem. I've you know, I know that you don't recommend it. You shouldn't be doing that, but yeah, I would do that. I would have no issue with that with the bathyscaphe.
Don't.
Um,
Just don't, guys. Don't listen to that. No.
I mean,
Don't even take it into the water. But yeah, by all means, continue.
yeah, I mean, so, you know, take that out. But I mean, no, I mean, of all the watches, though, really, you know, like, you should never do that, obviously. But of all the watches, I mean, I, I've done it on my Omega before, the Seamaster, and I would feel okay with this just because of, you know, what it is. But yeah, you know, obviously don't do it. But if you're going to, this would be the one you would do it with. And so, yeah, the sailcloth, it's yeah, I don't want to go on and on that because, you know, it doesn't really matter. The buckle the buckle is actually pretty cool. It's kind of like these small little details, I guess, that matter because it's like the way the strap, it like folds in, and it kind of like I don't really know how to explain like what it does. Like yeah, I'm not really good with words sometimes. Like I'm really good with words sometimes, and then other times I'm not. Like I can't really describe it. Like so, it kind of like folds under a little bit. I can't. Yeah, I'm having a hard time describing this, but so it's like it's kind of it doesn't add height at all, I guess is what you would say on the strap
Hmm.
somehow. So it's like even where it doubles up on the strap, it's like the same height almost, like almost, not basically, but you know, so that's where, yeah. So sorry, I was getting distracted. I apologize, man. Um,
That's all right.
uh, so okay, like the this is one thing I really like. Hey, Faded, what's up, Faded? It's good to see you, buddy. One thing I really like about this is I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, so it's kind of hard, but I believe it's called the detent when you like move the bezel around, you know,
Hmm.
and you're doing that little. It's just really. I mean, this is mine, you know, it's not the flyback, but it's just, it feels very crisp. The only thing that feels this crisp to me moving around is the are the Omegas. I really like those too, but I feel like this is just a really good one. Honestly, I like the look of it. I think I have a thing for 70s, you know, the like 60s, 70s looking watches.
Nice.
Um, Sorry, un momento. I don't want to ban people on your channel, buddy, but
Oh
let
no,
me
go ahead.
do that really
Go ahead.
quick if you don't mind. Yeah, sorry. I hate doing that, but yeah, thank you.
Oh no,
Um,
I love doing it. So by all means.
okay. Yeah, there's just some of that stuff I can't deal with. All right. So all right, back on track. We got this, like, I feel like it has a really nice click. A really, yeah, thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry. It has a really nice click. Really nice click. Yeah, it's good to see you, Barry. I love you, Barry. Thank you for everything in the Discord and stuff, bud. I really appreciate it, man. It's what's up. I appreciate all the stuff you guys put in there. It's always good stuff. You know, so this doesn't have like a crazy polish, you know, or anything like that, but you know, it's a nice dive watch. I would say this is like the dive watch standard. You know, I guess it kind of depends. Some people are going to say it's not. Like, and I have no problem with that. I understand that everybody has a different opinion. I think that you could say this is the dive watch standard, and I think that you could make that argument. And I think that it is. I mean, it's one of the only watch that I have that is as precise as my bathyscaphe is. Honestly, it's kind of funny, but it's my Nomos. Like the Nomos is really accurate, but the bathyscaphe is really accurate too. You know, I don't put them on those, you know, timographer things. Like I don't track it like that, but I'll like just like, you know, see like a week later, you know, something like that, and the bathyscaphe is always like, you know, it's just like a second or something. So that's what's, and same with the Nomos. So that's what I do really, you know, respect about it. I guess also kind of looking at this watch itself, some of the stuff that makes it really, I guess, special is that So there's these liquid metals that it almost looks like diamond for real. Like literally, boys, it literally almost looks like diamond. It's not diamond. It's like some weird like white gold thing, but it's really pretty. Like it pops. I'll just say that it doesn't pop like a jubilee or anything like those bracelets, but they look really good. And like I said, mechanically precise. I don't have the chronograph, so I can't really attest to that, but I can attest to the normal bathyscaphe, and it's very, very precise. I think the bezel, the ceramic, it's looking good. This metal, the liquid metal. So this is something that it's like I guess it's a swatch group thing.
Mhm.
You'll be able to correct me on this, Lord, but I think this liquid metal, it's some little swatch group thing, and some other, I believe Omega and some other or not punter brands, but some other brand has used this as well. But so it's like bonded. That metal is bonded to the ceramic, and so it won't actually. It's basically impossible to separate from it. So yeah, I mean that's something that's kind of interesting. The other thing, because you have the you got you can do the two events concurrently, and I also do really like this look on it. Like I have I think it's called Sunburst. It might be called something else like anthracite or meteor or something. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Sunburst, but it's like sunbursty. It has a very like I don't know. I mean, it's not hot. It's not hot horology or anything, but it's definitely it's pretty. It's good. It's not Rolex or it gives a high feel. That's all I'll say. It's upscale. It's not high horology, but it's very upscale feel. And I like the lollipop, that little lollipop second, sub second.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
really
that's
like
nice.
the 430. The 430 is like a big thing for me. Some people hate that. Some people really, really hate the 430. I
Guilty,
really like the 430. I think,
guilty.
yeah,
I would rather not have
I.
not have the date at all, but that's just me.
Well, so a lot of people hate that date. Like they just cannot stand it. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just everyone's different. It is what it is. I think it looks really good. I could see though how if you remove it, it has a little more. I don't know. It's a little cleaner, I guess, on this, but I just like the look of it, to be quite honest. But what else we got here? We got the metallic, metallic whatever. We got good water resistance at like 300 meters. Again, don't like Lord said, you don't want to use it underwater. Like jokes aside, but um, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But so
Yeah.
yeah,
So
don't do that. But
one one thing I will certainly say is for me, in a way, I am like whole milk. I like my divers and my chronos separate. On the other hand, um, that's when it comes
I
to
get
the
that. I get that.
functionality, right? I'm not gonna really take a chronograph to the sea, to the ocean, to the pool, etc. But aesthetically, I
But
think
yeah,
there's a lot of appeal in the combination of
yes.
basically two of the most iconic sports watch genres. So I really love the entire Blancpain 50 Fathom series, really. But when it comes to their flyback chronographs, as Nick described, it allows you to time events at very short intervals because you can just use the reset to snap it back to zero and it will continue to go rather than having to go through all these different motions of starting, stopping, and then resetting and then starting again, right? So it takes care of that in one step. um, and there is I think I'm actually going to resist a little bit with the 23 millimeter width, because as much as I am cynical and I think it's a proprietary thing that they do so they can sell you their own straps, etc. On the other hand, since this is a larger case than the bathyscaphe period, I think it's also a balance thing, that the lug width is wider for this case, for the flyback chrono in the bathyscaphe case, because the proportions are simply larger. So I think this is a very handsome watch. A lot of unique things going on for it. You know, the aesthetics, the flyback functionality, the date at 4.5 o'clock. Look, I mean, if you don't want the date uh, and you want to get a flyback chronograph, the Type 20 is already made. Get one of those, and you'll be set,
You
right?
really
So
like the Type 20, really
you
Type
want
20.
something different here. You have something different. You have that something that carries the best of the dive watch aesthetic and gives you, on top of that, flyback chronograph functionality. What more can you ask for, really?
Yeah, I mean that's basically how I see it, you know, and yeah, I mean that's really well said, you know, it really is well said because you get a lot in here. Uh-oh, do we got some sort of I think I have like an audio issue, sorry. One
No,
moment.
no worries. I'm trying to stay on top of it all.
We're good.
So we
No, you're
have
gonna do a great job.
we did the Watch Nicholas is presenting 4 of his options, and he has 1 wild card. So I'm trying to see what his wild card is. Except I also started the poll, of course, halfway through as we agreed. So hopefully I didn't include your wild card in it. But by all means,
Ooh,
we
you know,
have so far
what did you put on the what did you put on the poll? I'll just I'll use those. I'll make sure I do that one
Polaris.
then.
Polaris Chrono is the 4th one that I.
Okay. All right, cool.
So what we have is
Oh, that's
basically,
perfect then. We got perfect wild cards. That's good.
so we get the Zenit El Primero, the high beat 42 millimeter case, date at 6 o'clock. We did the Glasute Original Senator Panorama date, one of their really high caliber watches presented in stainless steel. I think it's a great choice. And as you see, those are all very modern choices, big, chunky watches. That is Watch Nicholas's aesthetic, right? We wanted to do 2 different things. And then we have the Blancpain 50 Fathoms flyback chronograph, which is something I actually like so much that it was one of the things that I presented as part of our discussions to Watch Addict earlier. So that this is certainly one of my favorites among Watch Nicholas's choices. I think it's a great aesthetic combination of everything in the sports watch genre. And now moving on to the 4th choice that is presented in our poll, something that we both like, Gégé Lecoutre.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, we also both like JJ LeCougar, the CEO. She's doing a great job over there too.
Of
But
course.
yeah, we got the Polaris chronograph. I have it as a 9028170. Let me get that down here. 90281. Uh-oh, typo, boys. 9028170 Polaris.
Mhm.
All right, let me do this. So there's a lot with JLC with Gégé Lecoutre to like. You know, I think everybody here. Well, not every. I can't say that for sure. I know Lord is a JJ or a JLC fan. I'm a big fan of their dive watches. I like these diving alarms. You know, I like those. I don't know. I like these funky things, I guess you can say. And so there's this 2000, I think this launched around 2018, and first they had like a diving alarm version, and then they kind of re-edited it without the alarm, and they have the chronograph, and it's a good thickness. It's only 42 mm, so, or sorry, not only, like it's like, you know, modern 42 mm, and I meant only 12 mm thick, so it's, you know, it's not bad. You're looking at, you know, Rolex thickness, accessible, all that. And we're looking at 20 lug width. So, easy to strap it on, strap it up, whatever. 48.6 lug to lug, but 12 thick is pretty good, I think, for what it is, for sure. I think that's pretty impressive for a chronograph. I like that a lot. And so, like, looking at the, I guess we would say what, like, so in the 70s they have those diving alarms, so like this, so you look at this watch, it's like, what is this watch, I guess that's like where I think about these watches and it's like, well, why do I like this watch even? It's kind of like, you go to an art museum or whatever. It's like, well, why do you even like this piece? Why do you like this art? Why do you like this whatever? I don't know why I like this. I really don't know. But I think that there's a mix of things. I think that, I see. I don't know what I see in this exactly, but I see those like 70s diving alarm watches. Even I see that in this. I don't know why exactly. I see that somewhere in here. I also see those like late 60s, like early 70s, like I see something like that. I can't say why. It's like you look at some art piece and it's like, oh, you can tell it's from this period or whatever. I mean, that's just the vibe I get from it. And, who knows? I think it's a good looking piece. I also like that, you can strap it, but on the bracelet, it's still like I was looking on the secondary. You can still find them under 10 and or under 10K US, and it has basically the equivalent of these like Rolex Easy Link system for easy adjustment, and it actually allows the sorry, it allows, I have in my notes 2.5 mm in adjustment actually. So that's pretty good, pretty good. Not bad for what you're getting. So I think that you could. I mean, I don't. I guess it can fit under a cuff, obviously at 12 mm, and you can say it can fit smaller wrists as well at that point. Um, Thomas says 60s watches have a functional, thoughtful, and confident design. Bringing that forward in new designs is appealing. Better materials, workmanship will reset aesthetics plus lift the value bar. I think that's well said. I think that's really well said. I mean, and then looking at this piece, some of the stuff that these pushers. I mean, what is it? Kind of, I don't know. I mean, they're not
Rectangular.
kind of rectangular-ish. You know. Um, and then we got this kind of I like the logo as well. I think the logo
Hmm.
looks pretty good on here. The logo, I really like that logo. uh, I like this the dial. I think the finishing, especially around like just my eyes are kind of poor, but around, I guess you would say, the granular finish on the hour, around the hour. It looks very grain, and I think that looks good. I like that, and I also like. Yeah, it's just a classic look. I mean, I can just talk and talk and talk on this. It's like I don't even know what I'm even saying. It's like at the end of the day, it's just a sexy watch. It's like it's really like I think when people see art, it's like, oh, like I don't know what art is, but it's like I know good art when I see it. It's like the Supreme Court. Like I don't know what porn is, but I know what it is when I see it. I mean, it's the same thing with this. Like I know what a sexy watch is when I see it, and this is a sexy watch. And I like these. I guess you would say concentric pattern on the
Hmm.
dial, with these. I guess that's how I would describe it. And yeah, I mean, before we get into the movement a little bit, do you have any thoughts on this? Like anything to kind of add? I mean, we're
Well,
not really sure what else to say.
two things. One thing that you already highlighted. This is the Gégé Lecoultre Memovox DNA, right? The alarm
Yeah.
watches, the alarm divers that Gégé Lecoultre produced at a certain point in time. When it comes to the modern version, I find the Polaris to get more beautiful as it gets complicated. Some people like the dial finish that JLC does. I appreciate it. I can understand it, but for me, um, the chronograph world timer, if you can hit aim as high as that, the perpetual calendar that they offer now in the Polaris case, I think they just get more beautiful the more complicated they get, and the chronograph I think is
Yeah.
the best value when it comes to that. And again, it's a watch with a modern touch, but the two register chronograph, of course, kind of harkens back to classic design as well. So this is again actually a very nice blend of what is best in Jaeger-LeCoultre's DNA, interpreted through a modern sports lens.
Yeah, I mean that's you have a way with words. That's really well said. I mean, and yeah, I mean it's a really you get a lot with this. It's a great blend. It's a great way to say it, and I like, yeah, I like what you're getting here. And I think you made a good point that hi Y2K. It's been a little bit, buddy. It's been a while since I've seen you, Y2K. It's good to see you, dude. It's good to see you, Y2K. Um, I think you get a lot of sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here, guys.
Of course.
You get a lot of value, obviously. I think you know what do we say, it's like the 1,000-hour control thing, all that. um, the tachometer, I mean, if you want a tachymeter, it's good to have a tachymeter, good to have 100-meter water resistance. Obviously, the stuff in the movement with the clutch chronograph, all that, like vertical clutch call. I mean, I don't know what all these terms mean. Like you can explain that stuff better. But there's a lot going on with the movement in terms of I mean, in terms of the testing, and I think we know that just from the 1,000-hour control because it went beyond the COSC. So I mean, I don't know what a lot of these new movement terms are, but I know that JLC's 1,000-hour control is more than sufficient, and that it's tested for water reserve, power reserve, and all that over whatever 1,000 hours it is, a month or 30, 40 days. So
6
you're
weeks.
getting 60, 70 hours, 6 weeks.
6
All right, there
weeks.
we
A
go. I
month
mean,
and a half.
that's a long time. Yeah, yeah, that's a good amount of time. It's a good amount of time. I mean, yeah, that's a good amount of time. I mean, a lot can change in a month and a half. I mean, for sure. I mean, we'll see. We'll probably see some of these gray market dealers in jail in a month and a half for real. So, I think that there's a lot that can happen in that amount of time.
Certainly. from your mouth to God's ears, as Americans put in a beautiful way. I
Yeah.
I actually did a whole video on the heritage of the Master Control series and the 30th anniversary models that JLC just came out with those gorgeous blue dials this year. So I'm posting a link to that in the chat. Watch it on your time, guys. But Jaeger-LeCoultre is a brand that I really admire, both in terms of its heritage and in terms of what they have been doing since the 90s. Of course, my heart is more with their classical designs a lot of times, the Reverso, the Master Control Ultra Thin, but that Polaris perpetual calendar,
Yeah,
ever
I like
since
that too.
I could actually see the watch, put it on my wrist, turn it around. It's just something really special. Polaris, I think, is a very underrated diver, and the complicated versions are just a thing of beauty. And for me, again, I know Nick is always more suggesting that you go to the authorized dealers. In my case, I have no problem going into the secondary market when it's actually someone who has been in the business for decades and someone who actually knows what they're doing and knows how to treat a
Certainly.
customer, knows how to negotiate,
Certainly.
so on and so forth. JLC, for that kind of customer, offers a lot of value all across the board in the secondary market. So Actually, this is where I have voted. I can't vote as the channel host, but I did make sure to log in with my troll account and vote for JLC Polaris Chronograph. So this is my vote.
Yeah, I could see this being the winner. I mean, I get that. I really do because, it's just, it's great. I mean, we really didn't even talk about the whole watchmaker aspect, with all the movement stuff. I mean, that's again, like I think everybody goes just the Rolex route. And if you see this in the wild, one of the punters in the comments said something about how, if you see this out in the wild, like you're going to say like, oh, that's a cool, like gentleman you want to talk to or whatever. And I agree
Yeah.
with that. I mean, because it's not, you see way too many Daytoners, way too many subbies, way too many like just way too many of that. So it's nice to see something that's a little different and classy, very, very classy. And obviously it's not reverso classy, but it's a different type of class. And there's definitely a lot of class in this chronograph. And, yeah, it's tried and true chronograph from a watchmaker's watchmaker. EDC says he'd take the blonde pawn all day. I
Mhm.
mean, I understand what you're saying. I do. I mean, that's a hard choice, and I guess I'm biased because I have a blonde pawn now. I like the JLC though. I do. I guess if it's head to head between those two, I think I'm taking the JLC just head to head between those two, and I think my vote on these two of the four that I've introduced or that we've introduced together, apologies, I think I would probably be going with this one too, just because of just everything. I mean, for real, just everything you get. I mean, I guess if I didn't go for this, I could see it being the Bathy scaff because I really, really do like the Bathy scaff, and I like that F 385 movement that's in that.
Mhm.
I think that's really cool because it's like Frederick Piguet inspired, all that stuff. It's just fancy, it's fancy stuff. You got the good stuff you want in there, but I think there's something about JLC. Everybody loves JLC. Can't go wrong with JLC. I'll stop talking. I'll stop talking and leave
No,
it.
no
Can't go wrong
worries.
with JLC.
Uh, and
So
and look, I mean, you did all the work to present. I'm just here as a second fiddle while you are going through your own thing. The community so far, again, if you want to have a last word in this poll, so far they have put Zenit El Primero 42 millimeter ahead with 43% of the votes. JLC Polaris Chronograph that you just presented is behind at 31%. Glashütte Original Senator Chrono Dates has 16%. And Blancpain Bathyska Flyback Chronograph is the fourth choice currently at 8%. So if you want to invite people to vote for any one of them, I understand. But in either case, guys, this is, again, this is something, this is a concept that Watch Nicholas, in collaboration with Watch Addict, produced. We give you four choices, each one of us, and you will get to pick one to go into the final round, basically. So far, Zenit is leading, but if you want to influence the decision, if you want to vote for any of the other ones, feel free. At the end of the day, including our wild cards respectively, we will have four finalists, which we will have in another poll after today. So far, Watch Nicholas presented his four choices. I wonder if you want to share your wild card now, or if you are going to save it for later. What do you prefer?
yeah, I don't want to share it now. I'm like learning how to do this the streaming thing, and I'm learning that you can't tell the punters everything they want to hear right away. You just can't do it. So
Okay.
I'll hold back on that. I will talk about some like honorable mentions maybe really quick. I mean, some of this stuff just
Sure.
like a quick second on that. Stuff that didn't get in there, but that I thought was kind of hard not to get in there was Creedor. I really wanted to get Creedor in there. I really did just because of Grand Seiko. I wanted to find some way to get them in there, but it was hard. I couldn't find something that with these parameters. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't find a Creedor. Um, I think there were some Nomos kind of honorable mentions, but I also felt like they were just a little too low in terms of, Watch Addict's a classy punter. He's a classy punter, so we had to get a classy watch. So Nomos, I think it was close, but just not quite enough. I guess is what we would say. I think that the Zenith, the JLC, the Blonde Pawn, I think that these can work really well. And one brand that I actually learned about, Lord, I had never even heard of
Yes,
this
sir.
brand until I was kind of researching this for lore or for Watch Addict. It was called Alexander Shirokov. I'd never even heard of this brand, and it had some really neat looking watches for sure. I mean, it was more in the like sub 5
Mhm.
range, but I was impressed. I was impressed with those. Again, I haven't seen them in the wild or live, so I can't, more of a random honorable mention, I guess. But there's definitely it's hard to find hot horology, especially under 10. I think that in our wild card, I think that I don't think you can say that we have that. I think you have something close-ish, close-ish in the wild card. It's close-ish, and it can pass in a pinch, so to
Yes,
speak.
yes, sir.
It isn't, but it'll pass in a pinch, and like to a punter like me, it is, and like
Yeah,
it'll work.
actually, I mean,
Um,
we're not going to give it away, but I actually
no, no,
I would raise the stakes. In fact, I think it passes, and we have to perhaps
I
uh,
think so.
democratize the understanding of high horology beyond a certain price tag or price point. But that's a later discussion, since we are saving our
Yeah.
respective wildcards to the end. All right.
Yes.
So any last words before we end this poll? No?
Yeah, that's great. No, that's
Okay.
what's up.
We
What's
are
up?
ending the poll, guys. So the official results are in among Watch Nicholas's 4 choices. What we have is the Zenith El Primero 42 millimeter chronograph, high beat. Let me pull it up again.
I think Jake just asked the most important question, like the
Yes, go
most
ahead.
important question that has to be asked here, which is what is the best watch from the female perspective? I don't. I wish I could answer that. I think that is the most important question. I would probably say JLC for style rating, I guess.
Hmm.
But
I would,
uh,
I'm glad. First of all, I'm glad that I'm invited to share a female perspective. Um, sounds very fitting. Thank you for
the
recognizing
feminine
my
wrist, I
feminine
guess.
side, JB. Um, you know what? I think there is something about the monochromatic aesthetic that appeals to women, actually, especially if it matches well with your style. At the end of the day, I think that's what women appreciate the thought. They could, for the most part, unless they are actually watch geeks like you, and that's a pretty rare breed, they don't look
Yeah,
at the brand unless it's Cartier or Rolex or AP. They don't really look at
Chopard
the,
maybe. Yeah,
yeah, they don't really look at the colors specifically, but really something that
yeah,
matches your style, something that you clearly put some thought behind, and something that you carefully chose for your outfit. I think that's what really appeals to the opposite sex. Um, that's all I can say. Beyond that, I think we are really indulging in too much theory and very little practice. But hopefully we will get our own.
understatement of the century. Yeah.
Yeah, we will get our own female counterparts. I have some interviewees lined up. So I look forward to saving some of these choices and asking them for their perspective. For me, the JLC Polaris is the winner, but we are doing a democratic process here. So it is Zenit El Primero 42 millimeters high beat chronograph that moves into the final round from all these four exquisite choices by my friend Watch Nicholas.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Well said, Lord. I appreciate it. I think I'm a little surprised that Zenith was the winner here. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie. Were you surprised by that?
A little bit, but then again, not really, because in a way,
Rolex.
yeah, in a way, Zenit has great brand recognizability. It carries a lot of heritage. Um, it's it's a brand that I love in its history, if not necessarily in its present, but there are things that I still do appreciate about Zenit. Like you said, I think the fact that it's one of the first automatic calibers, and when you think about a modern chronograph, which was your grouping, you want something with automatic caliber, you want something with heritage, you want something with a certain style and recognizability, and I think Zenit basically checks just about every single box. You have a
Yeah,
high beat
I think that's
caliber. I
fair.
mean, it is the modern chronograph in so many ways still today.
Yeah, I mean it is. It is. It definitely. It 100% is, and it's a timeless watch. I mean, it's been around. It's timeless. It has historical importance. It's wearable. I mean, it's like if you have a watch that's like, I guess like I didn't want to put the Moon watch on here. I didn't want to put an Omega on here because to me that's kind of like putting a Rolex on here. Like I know it isn't, but it's like I just was like I'm going to try to do something a little different, I guess, because I felt like that's just it's too easy. You know what I mean? But like I feel like this is the same, not in that it's too easy, but that it's such a historically important watch. It's not a moon watch historically important, but it is. It's almost like that. So it's an enduring, timeless classic. It's wearable. It's the El Primero. I get why people like it. I mean, I haven't bought one yet, but I totally would. I'm enamored with the Skyline watches. I really like the Daytona, uh, Chronomasters, whatever they call them. I hate those like open heart things they did. I think those are absolutely horrid. But I like the Daytona and I like the Skyline and I like the movement. I really do. I think I'm a sucker for these movements. Like I don't need to have like I don't need to have the full like Cote de Genève and all that. Like I don't, but like this has like basic little things and like it looks good, with the engine turning on the bridges, whatever. Like sexy watch. It's a good looking watch. I get why people like it. I really think that people like it probably more because of Rolex. I really think that's what it is. But I also get why like on its own it can and it it can entrance people on its own, on its own right. So I get that. I totally get it.
Okay, so this was the first part. Now, in the second part, guys, we might slow down a little bit. We are at the end of the day traveling back in time, but also because I'll be presenting and I have the controls as well. So um, I apologize in advance for any glitches. But my responsibility was to basically tap into the knowledge of vintage watches that I have, but not necessarily choose something truly vintage. Ultimately, I ended up coming up with four choices that are either neo vintage, so from the 90s and 2000s, or come from brands and designs and from independents that have truly assimilated and reinterpreted classic vintage designs. So I also have a wild card that I really cherish, and as with Nick, I'm not going to reveal it right away. But I want to start with the very first one. This is Hoya Carrera, um, which is a classic that Tag actually reintroduced and re-edited in the 90s. The original is from 1965. This is Hoya CS3110. I particularly appreciate it in this silvered white dial configuration because to me it's actually very elegant, very classical, very clean. None of that date window nonsense. Just the right amount of blue around the dial. Um, it's really a thing of beauty, if you ask me. Um,
I love Hoyer. I love Hoyer. I also, I think that Hoyer, Tag Hoyer, Hoyer, Tag Hoyer, all of them, I think they get too much hate. I don't think they get enough love. I think this is a really great pick, and I think that you're a great person to try to sell this watch because this brand is really underappreciated, and there's a lot of great stuff with them. I really like them. I really do. I think it's good to get this one in here, and it's kind of a, I don't want to say it's a non-traditional pick, but it kind of is. It's a great one. It's a great one to see it in there, I think.
so here's the beautiful thing about this watch, of course, and again, this is the contrast that you will see between Watch Nicholas's choices, between Nick's choices and mine. This is something that's very classically proportioned. It's actually it wears a little larger, but it measures 36 millimeters in case diameter on paper. So I have particularly for that reason stuck with the white dial, something meant to be worn classically on a leather strap of your choice. You can style it in so many different ways, but I think as it's presented here on a black or even a dark brown calfskin leather strap, that would be beautiful. Of course, the pump pushers reinforce that vintage inflected aesthetic, even though this is a 90s reedition. The case scales right at 13 millimeters. So again, for an automatic chronograph, it's not too thick at all, very well proportioned, 20 millimeter lug width. Just a classic chronograph that you wear for so many different occasions. If you want to bring out that toolish, sportier mood out of it, hey, there was a guy at some point called TGV. He used to put everything on a NATO strap. This watch belongs on a NATO strap if you want to really push the envelope in terms of how sporty it can get. And again, for someone with a smaller wrist like me, this is incredibly appealing. And when it comes to chronographs that you want to wear for, dressier, more stylish occasions, other than taking it out to the boardwalk in shorts and a polo, this is really it. I think it's a great choice and offers great value. Again, I'm even cheaper than Watch Nicholas. I'm even more frugal, let's put it diplomatically. So I was told, when I'm told I'm given a $10,000 budget, I don't shoot for the stars. I say, let's start at 5 and move our way up. So as it happens, you can actually find a Hoya Carrera CS3110 in the 90s reedition, well under $10,000 and even under $5,000. So great value proposition, lots of elegance and class put into it. After all, we talked about El Primero, right? And it being the first or one of the first automatic calibers. Hey, Tag Heuer's Monaco actually was, in fact, the first waterproof chronograph with an integrated automatic chronograph movement. So Hoya also has a similar kind of heritage, a similar kind of claim. And I think this is a very appealing piece of classic design, very elegant, just the right touch of blue. Pick if you want like an electric blue leather strap to go with this, and it will be, as the pontiff used to say, schmiko. It's a great, great watch.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great choice for sure. I like it. I like it on the NATO too. Strap it up. Strap it on. Hi, baby girl. Good to see you. Good to see
Hey,
you. Love
baby
you,
girl.
baby girl.
Lovely to
So
see
yeah,
you. Welcome back.
yeah.
Yeah, Tag Heuer, or Hoya, whatever you want to call it. It's an underrated brand. I'm not interested in any of their offerings that go beyond the 90s, but this is a sweet spot for me. Um, so this is my first choice. Do you want to add anything, Nick, before I go forward?
No, I think you did a great job. I think you did a great job. Good job.
All right. So for the second choice, actually, I'm gonna start right here with a stock picture that I have found from somewhere else. And this is my choice in Zenit, something that comes from early 2000s, a model that's not really produced by them anymore. Um, it is something that really, in a way, screams classic chronograph calendar watch in so many ways, from the styling of the dial to the sculpting of the lugs. Um, you wouldn't be surprised if you looked at 12 o'clock and saw the name Patek Philippe. But here you see Zenit El Primero, and
Yeah.
again you have the same base caliber with that strong heritage of being one of the first integrated automatic chronograph movements. But on top of that, you now have something that gives real meaning to that stupid opening at 4.5 o'clock, because you actually have a triple calendar. You have the dates, you have the day, and you have the month, and a beautiful moon phase to go with it, lodged right into that 12-hour totalizer at 6 o'clock. I think it's a very elegant watch with the Roman numerals.
Yeah.
It's and with this black dial that actually has some guilloche work that this particular angle doesn't really catch. You have something that really hits a lot of the right notes when it comes to a classic chronograph calendar watch. Of course, this is not a perpetual calendar. It's not even an annual calendar. You have to manipulate it 5 times a year. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. This is my sweet spot once again. It's not only under 10K, but well under 10K, and you're getting uh, by God, you are getting a lot of watch for your money. A triple calendar with moon phase, with a beautiful classic looking case from Zenit. You have the El Primero moon phase triple date, and it actually happens to um, come also with a stainless steel bracelet if you like it. I'm not a huge fan. Even if I got it with the stainless steel bracelet, I think I would immediately put it on a leather strap. But the option is there. So if you want to make it a little sportier, some people really like wearing their watches exclusively on matching metal straps. By all means, you have that option as well. But at the end of the day, I think this is a very, very classy watch. If the dial said Patek, you would be talking about 10, 12 times, 20 times more money, perhaps. But here we are, discontinued Zenit from early 2000s, hitting that neo-vintage sweet spot, and really just the most watch your money can get on the market. I think this is just perfection, if you ask me. I don't even know why I presented it second. Maybe I should have presented it last, because to me, at least among the four choices that I have, this is a clear winner. Nick, what say you?
Um, yeah, sorry, I had some connection issues. No more Panera bread, boys. We're learning our lesson on this one. Yeah, I think I agree with you on this for sure. I think this is a great, like, this is an absolute winner, absolute winner. Um, so I hear you, especially at the value and stuff. I think you're getting a lot on it. So I think it's a great choice. Absolute, a great presentation for sure.
Hey, thank you so much, OG Baby Girl, for your PayPal contribution. And thank you, everyone who have been supporting us over this time. Of course, thank you, Watch Addict, for, first of all, coming up with this idea and trusting Nick and me to guide you through your choice. I'm truly honored and touched, and I'm also grateful for your support. And for everyone here, again, there's so many people who have been supporting us consistently, if only simply by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channels, telling their friends, bringing more people into our community that we're building here. And we take care of each other. This is what we do, and we are here for helping you expand your knowledge, helping you make more conscious choices, helping you avoid these dodgy deals that you might encounter if you deal with filthy flippers. So we are grateful to have you. If you can do more, it's always welcome. The links are there for both Nick's payment processor and the number of options that I have for you. So feel free to contribute if you will, but just hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel really means a lot to me.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, fight the filthy flippers. Lindell has it.
Yeah, Lindell,
Has it down.
you have to correct your spelling, of course. It's spelled with a PH for both words, but I'll take it. I'll take this. So filthy flippers, it's PHILTHY and PHLIPPERZ, as you correctly put it at the end.
Flippers, yep, all over.
Yeah, and add as many ers as you want, since that's Watch Nicholas' signature. So this was my third, second choice. Moving on to the third, this is actually, Watch Addict was really accommodating to me because his general proclivities are really towards the modern, and he doesn't really buy vintage watches. And I think it's not because of the lack of passion. It's not for the lack of aspiration. It's not for the lack of enthusiasm, but I think he needs the right kind of guidance. But I wanted to accommodate him. So what I did with my next choice was to really settle on a design that I really love and that I really appreciate, and find the modern equivalent to it. This is the Universal Genève, or Universal Geneva Uni Compacts, the big eye for the 30-minute totalizer at 3 o'clock. Since I couldn't actually sell Watch Addict on the idea of acquiring something like this, I took him to the next best thing, and this is our third option. And again, I might as well be working, guys, with 5K budget rather than 10K. I'm all about saving money. We have the Masina Lab Uni Racer. in the Panda dial configuration. It's quite beautiful in the reverse Panda too, don't take me wrong, but to me this again is something really beautiful. Just the right touch of red on the dial too, in addition to the Panda. You get that beautiful appeal of the big eye chronograph, which again is kind of a mid-century, and I mean that the 20th century thing, and you are getting that divided kind of target design with the red accents that are also reflected in the subsidiary seconds dial, as well as the 30-minute totalizer. And it's right under 40 millimeters, 39 millimeters to be specific in case diameter. And it has a Celita movement in it, decorated and assembled in a certain way, hand wound, which is something that appeals to me, which also means that you have a thickness, or should I say thinness, of 9 millimeters, right? And that's, again, that increases for me the vintage appeal of this watch, neo-vintage appeal of this watch, I should say. Very well proportioned, timeless design, a nice movement in it. I appreciate the fact that it is hand wound. I also like the way that in that classic design of a Panda dial big eye configuration, they're actually adding a lot of color, from the blued hands to those red accents that I was talking about. It's just great watch, and you're actually right at the 3.5K mark. So very appealing choice for me, even though, again, I don't buy retail and I don't buy new. But hey, still, I think this is a great option for those of you who want the looks, the charm, the aesthetics of a vintage watch, a big eye chronograph that is hand wound, but you want something that perhaps for you inspires the kind of robustness, sturdiness, and reliability that you expect from a modern watch. Which, by the way, again, I'm not going to step onto the soapbox, but I think it's mostly a myth. But that being said, this is something for the modernist in you who is touched by a certain kind of nostalgia, touched by or inspired by the vintage elements in design.
Yeah, well said. Definitely well said. I mean, I think there's a lot of value here for sure, and it looks great. I mean, this isn't a brand I know a lot about, so I appreciate the introduction for sure.
They have done, again, I'm not going to reveal the name, but they have done collaborations with a very favorite brand of ours as well. So Messina Lab is a great independent. By the way, just going back to the options, so we had Hoya Carrera CS3110, classical design, very elegant piece with the white dial, but also 36 millimeter, 13 millimeter in thickness. The Zenith, unfortunately, I passed on the dimensions, but again, you have a watch that's only 13 millimeters thick, even though you have the triple date and moon phase on top of the automatic chronograph. And again, 39 millimeter case size, so very classically proportioned, very dressy, those two options.
Yeah, very classic.
And here we have something sportier, something that's a little quirkier and a little bit more fun, and clearly a modern watch with vintage aesthetics. So we can make the case that this is an embodiment of neo vintage.
I think that's well said. Yeah, definitely well said.
Thank you. So I will take the time right now to introduce my poll. Nick, if you want to address anyone or say anything in the meantime while I'm involved with that, please feel free.
Oh yeah,
This
great.
is your
Let's
home.
Baby girl. We got baby girl in the chat. We love baby girl. Thank you. Thank you for the donation supporting the channel, baby girl. It's great. Everybody subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you. If you can support it, if you can support Lord, support me, support us, it's great. So thank you guys. Antonio, congratulations on the new, saw you got the Sky Dweller, the new two-tone. That's what's up, buddy. That's really cool. That's really cool. Who else is in here right now? I don't see anybody. I see PJ in curly Q. I don't really know what the punters are wearing, but yeah. We got some Tudor votes. Oh, the first generation overseas. That's a good watch. That is a good watch. That is a good looking one for sure.
So thank you everyone for upvoting. Thank you for subscribing. I'm so happy to welcome some new subscribers. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for your support. So there we go. I'm actually ready to post the poll. All right, which reveals, by the way, my fourth choice as well. And there we go, which is Habring 2 Chrono Felix Sport. Where do I start? First of all, Habring 2 is a brand that I really admire. It is founded by Maria Habring and Richard Habring in Austria. Habring was actually a movement maker working with IWC for decades, and he was, in a way, Kurt Klaus's protege, and he really mastered the art in that house and really distinguished himself in modulating and modifying that famous Valjoux 7750 chronograph bass. And in fact, his split second, how should I say, his split second iteration, his split second chronograph invention was so influential that the minute its patent expired at IWC, he brought it over to his own company as well. Habring started also by modifying Valjoux movements, but since access to Valjoux has become strict and since they wanted to actually pay a little more attention and care to their in-house calibers, they are now sourcing everything independently and building and assembling everything that they do in-house. If they can't find a particular part, they machine it in-house. So even though the movement for these chronographs carries the Valjoux architecture, it is built from scratch and certainly finished at a level that rivals a lot of these storied high horology brands. The monopusher execution here is not only evocative for me of that era of vintage where you control everything with that single pusher for a chronograph. But it is also a masterful display of that high horological quality that I was just talking about. It's much harder to assemble, of course, that particular movement architecture and configure it to be operated by a monopusher. Um, and you can get a nice peek of that beautiful hand wound version of the movement right there. And you have once again a watch that takes all the elements of classic design, including that snail dial, and the color combination that varies from tan to black to cream to those silvered subdials to those
Mm,
silvered registers, and of course that
I like it.
beautiful, yeah, that beautiful touch of red for both the chronograph seconds centrally mounted and the snailing at the center of the dial. Once again, we're working in terms of dimensions with our parameters of 38.5 in case diameter. And I want to say, I don't want to mislead you. I want to say it's under 10 millimeters in thickness, but let me double check that. Chronofelix. Yeah, it's actually 10.5 in height. So I think again, it's a sweet spot since it's hand
Yeah,
wound.
it's a sweet spot for sure.
They shaved off quite a bit there. It's maybe not as thin or as some of the most elegant dress watches. Again, you have here something of an aesthetic that's sportier at any rate, working with that classical vocabulary, working within the visual inspirations of that vintage aesthetic and executing it both from an engineering perspective and aesthetic perspective to the highest caliber. I think the Chronofelix Sport, being so far the most expensive watch that I chose, we are talking about around $8,000 in terms of the retail price. Still well within the parameters that Watch Addict chose. But here's an option again that has the modern touch, the modern feel, but also the vintage charm.
Yeah, well said. Definitely, it has all that for sure. That's makes it a great choice for that because of that. For yeah, agree. Totally agree.
Anything you want to add or contest or say about Hobbling 2 as we are finalizing?
No, I think you summed this one up really well. I think you presented it really well too. I think I really don't know a lot about this brand, so I enjoyed the presentation on it. Truly.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I love you anyway, so you can fight me a little bit. You don't have to be so nice.
No, I mean I really do. I think it was well presented, a great choice. I think it's a great just different watch. It's a great one for that. Totally.
So the poll has been running for a while now. Interestingly, we have not gotten any votes actually for the Masena Lab and the Habring 2. And it seems like a head-to-head race for the fences, so to speak, between the Hoya Carrera from the 90s, the re-edition, and the Zenit El Primero triple date moon phase. But I think my poll ran for a very short time so far. It's like 7-8 minutes. So maybe we will continue the conversation a little bit in broader terms, and let people make their
Give
choices.
them a couple
And
minutes.
yeah, and I will go over some of the chat as well, because people have come up with their own suggestions over time. People have expressed their opinions. Again, to remind you all, we are choosing a watch within the parameters given to us by Watch Addict. He wanted a chronograph, and he basically asked Watch Nicholas to advise him for modernist pieces. He offered 4 suggestions. He asked me to come up with a neo-vintage spread. I just presented the 4 that you can see in the poll. Do you want to remind the people of your 4 suggestions? We already know the winner from your spread, but still.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, why not, right? So the choices we had a Zenith Chronomaster El Primero, and that ended up winning. That was 03.2040.400-69.M2040. And so that's a 36,000 VPH, 42 mm, just tricolor El Primero. And I think it's probably the Rolex Heritage that had that win out. But either way, that was the most popular watch that I introduced, but the other ones were the Glass Hooter, Original, Senator Chronograph Panorama Datum, and then the Blonde Pond Bathyscaphe Flyback Chronograph 52001110B52A, and then lastly the Jaeger-LeCoultre Polaris chronograph 9028170. So, and then the or not honorable mention, I guess the wild card that we'll save for another time. So those were the 4. I guess they're all, yeah. I mean, those were my 4 that we went through, and they were, yeah, happy with those.
I wanted to just give people a quick peek at the 4. Of course, we already know the winner, which made it to the final round. That was the Zenith El Primero 42 millimeter high beat chronograph. As Nick said, probably it has a lot to do with the fact that you have a caliber that is not only one of the first integrated automatic chronograph movements, but also the heritage that it powered the Rolex Daytona as its first automatic caliber from 1988 to 2000. So that's what you have beating inside the 1652 all in stainless steel, the 5-digit Rolex Daytonas.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I mean, I think there's some interesting, like some of these other. It's hard to pick a Zenith. There's so many good Zeniths, I think, that you can kind of choose from. Like I thought this was an interesting one, even though it's a few years old. Like you could pick one of the new ones. Let's see, what do we have on the screen? We got the JLC. This JLC this is a great one. I kind of thought that this was going to win, to be totally honest. I expected this to be the one that won, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So it's a good looking watch. The JLC looks good. I like the JLC. I like all these watches, so I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all fantastic choices. Again, I was moving towards the Bathyscaphe flyback chronograph, but I can totally get why people would go for Zenith, because it's still one of the best automatic calibers when it comes to a chronograph. it's a very sporty looking
Yeah,
watch,
definitely.
and you can still get other kinds of mileage and other kinds of wear out of it as well. So, guys, we have about 5 more minutes to go. Feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to vote in the poll. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. I appreciate all the support that
Hmm.
you have given us. Appreciate all the contributions you have sent. All the likes you have given to this video, the viewership, the the fact that you voted on the polls, the fact that you enabled this live stream, Watch Addict first and foremost, but also everyone who contributed here. Thank you so much for,
Yeah,
again,
muchos
being with us.
gracias. Muchos gracias.
And
Indeed, very
thank you,
much. Thank
baby
you
girl.
very much.
Thank you, baby girl. All right, so since we are actually closing off, I want to take a look at the poll once again. Hoya is a clear win. Apparently, Halye says my idea of putting it on a NATO strap really helped him, helped him go over the edge and choose that watch. I think it's very elegant as well. So it's a great choice. By all means, it can be very sporty. It's also very dressy, especially with the white dial put on a leather strap. It's a classic chronograph that you can wear with abandon and with utmost elegance. Put it on a tattered NATO, and you will still get that masculine, sporty feel out of it. So I'm happy to have it as a winner in this round. Of course, Zenit is pushing pretty hard. Masina Lab got some votes. For one reason or another, Habring is lagging behind. That's very disappointing to me, but I'm not gonna judge. What do you
Well
think,
said.
Nick?
Well said. My connection was kind of going out there. I kind of couldn't hear what you said, to be totally honest.
Oh, that's okay.
Um,
That's okay in that case.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Guys, so we have two winners basically, which go into the final round. We will let you know of the next live stream, but so far we have the two wild cards, one by Watch Nicholas, one by me, your humble servant, Lord Hellespont V. And we have the two winners of today that you chose democratically. It is Hoya CS 3110 Carrera for me, which is a 90s reedition of their 1965 classic round cased chronograph. Beautiful 36 millimeter piece that you can wear classically and elegantly, but also with the kind of reckless abandon that you should really put your chronograph to. And in Nick's case, go ahead. You share again your winner, if you don't mind, Nick.
The Zenith. The Zenith was my winner. Zenith was the winner.
Amazing. So we have Hoya Carrera from the 90s and Zenit El Primero, 42 millimeter high beat chronograph. Moving on to the next round, we will share with you again the links and announcements for the next live stream. You will get to vote among those four watches between the Hoya, between the Zenit, and between the two wild cards, and we will both help Watch Addict make his choice, and also expand our knowledge in the process. Thank you again for all my Patreon supporters, to Bezels, to Watch Addict, to Jake Brooks, to Baby Girl, who supported us a lot in this stream, for all the likes, for all the subscriptions. We really appreciate you. Thank you for helping us run this live stream. The Wolfpack is gonna be back quite soon, continuing this concept, but also with more exciting collab ideas. Thank you for being with me, Nick.
Yeah, well said, Lord. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, amazing. Let's sign off. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I think I will run an early live stream tomorrow, and give you a few updates in terms of upcoming content and have a little bit of a Sunday chat. But until then, I bid you adieu. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you so much for your support. Goodbye, guys. Bye.